Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Welcome back for our daily lessons. As today we enter into the section that is entitled Khatul Lisan, the danger of the tongue. Allah the Exalted, He has stated, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ, and there is no one who utters a word except that there is already a scribe from the angels prepared to record it. And on the authority of Sahal ibn Sa'ad, as he states that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, whoever can guarantee for me what is between his two cheeks and what is between his two legs, then I can guarantee for that person Jannah, then I can guarantee for that person paradise. And of course, what is between the two cheeks, it means the tongue. And on the authority of Mu'adh ibn Jabal, may Allah be pleased with him, as he states that I said, O Messenger of Allah, inform me about an action that will cause me to be entered into paradise and will distance me from the fire of hell. And he said, certainly you have asked about a magnificent matter, and it is easy for whoever Allah facilitates it for. Worship Allah and do not commit shirk in any one aspect, and do not worship the creation in any one aspect. Establish prayer, pay the zakah, fast Ramadan, and perform Hajj to the house if you have the ability to do so. And then he said, shall I not inform you or direct you toward the gates of good? Fasting is a shield. Charity extinguishes sin in the same fashion that water extinguishes fire. And the prayer of a person in the depths of the night. And then he recited, تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ, and their sides forsake their beds. يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا, and they make dua to their Lord. They supplicate to their Lord with fear and with hope. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, and from what we have provided for them, they spend in our cause. They spend. فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ جَزَاءً بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ, and no soul knows what has been hidden for it of coolness of the eyes, of min qurrati a'yunin, of coolness of the eyes, as a reward for what they used to do. We have to pause here just for a moment to explain what is meant by this term, qurratu a'yun, the coolness of the eyes. The idea here is that a person experiences such felicity, such delight, such joy, that they begin crying out of sheer happiness. And when you cry out of happiness, those tears, they are cooling to the face and cooling to the body. This is the meaning of being the coolness of one's eyes. But returning back to the hadith that is here, and thereafter he states, shall I not inform you of the head of the matter, its supporting tenet, and its uppermost part? And I said, certainly, O Messenger of Allah. He then said, the head of the affair is Islam, its supporting tenet is the prayer, and its uppermost part is jihad. And then he said, shall I not inform you of the paramount of all of that in entirety? And I said, certainly, O Messenger of Allah. So then he grasped onto his tongue and he said, Kuffa alayka hada, restrain this. So then I said, O Messenger of Allah, will we be taken to account for that which we speak? And he said, may your mother be bereaved, O Mu'adh. Is there anything that will cause the people to be dragged on their faces into the fire of hell? Anything more than what their tongues have put forth? Collected by At-Tirmidhi. Asharh, the explanation. The tongue, it is very dangerous. It is immensely dangerous. And we find an abundance of text that cautions us from the illnesses of the tongue. And this is because it is very difficult for the servant to protect oneself from the illnesses of the tongue, from the sins that come forth from the tongue, and the harm that comes forth from the tongue, and it's so easy to fall into. And we find this being the case for every individual that doesn't have the ability to control their own speech, so that they're not able to restrict themselves to only speaking with that which is good. So for this reason, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has informed us that there are many people who will enter into the fire of hell because of their tongues. Al-Fawaid points of benefit from the section. Firstly, the danger of the tongue and the obligation of being cautious of it, since there are people who will be entered into the fire of hell due to one statement that they made that they weren't being mindful of when they said it. Secondly, the tongue itself, and just allowing it to wag to and fro without being in alignment with obedience to Allah, is a cause of entrance into the fire of hell. And safeguarding the tongue and being conscious of what one says, how one says it, the tonality and impact of our speech, this is a cause for entrance into paradise. Thirdly and lastly, we see the error of many of the people and their negligence, their heedlessness, and just allowing their tongue to be open and to say any and all things without there being benefit in the speech that they are conveying. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على محمد, and we'll see you next time for our daily lessons. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.